The Adepta Sororitas, also known as the Sisterhood or Daughters of the Emperor, are an all-female subdivision of the religious organization known as the Ecclesiarchy or Ministorum. The Sisterhood's orders Militant serve as the Ecclesiarchy's fighting arm, mercilessly rooting out corruption and heresy within humanity and every organization of the Adeptus Terra. The terms Adepta Sororitas and Sisters of Battle are commonly assumed to mean the same thing, but the latter title technically refers only to the Orders Militant, the military arm of the organization, which is the largest and the best-known part of the sororitas. Overview. The Sisterhood serves as the Ministorum's only official military forces because the decree passive rules that the Ecclesiarchy cannot maintain any men under arms. This was supposed to limit the power of the Ecclesiarchy. However, the Ministorum were able to circumvent this decree by using the all-female force of the Sisterhood. There is naturally some overlap between the duties of the Sisterhood and the Inquisition. For this reason, although the Inquisition and the Sisterhood remain entirely separate organizations, the Orders Militant of the Sisterhood are the go-to favored option when an Ordo Hereticus Inquisitor needs soldiers. History and founding. The Adepta Sororitas were officially founded in the 36th millennium, and more specifically during the later age of apostasy. However, they trace their origins to an older, all-female warrior cult known as the Daughters of the Emperor. Based on the world of San Loa, this cult was dedicated to worship of the Emperor and the study of martial arts. The Daughters were fairly isolated from the wider Imperium, but there are accounts which suggest that they did not stay on San Loa all the time. For instance, Imperial scholars believe that Saint Sabbat was linked to the Daughters of the Emperor in some way. It is possible that the Daughters fought in her war for the Sabbat worlds. Regardless, the Daughters of the Emperor remained a small sect and mostly unknown cult until they were discovered by the spies of Goj Vandaya, the High Lord of the Administratum, and also Ecclesiarch of the Adeptus Ministorum. Realizing their potential usefulness, he decided to visit San Loa and recruit the Daughters into his own private army. The Daughters at first refused to accept his authority. Vandaya decided to show them that he was blessed by the Emperor. He instructed a soldier in his entourage to shoot him, which after a brief hesitation, he did. However, thanks to the protective field generated by the Rosarius of the Ecclesiarch, which no one but Vandaya himself was aware of, Vandaya was not harmed. The Daughters took this to be a sign, and swore allegiance to Vandaya virtually on the spot. They were renamed the Brides of the Emperor, and became Vandaya's most loyal followers. Revelation and Retribution. During the siege of the Ecclesiarchal Palace, the Adeptus Custodes, the Praetorians of the Emperor himself, tried to approach the brides and convince them of Vandaya's treachery. In a last-ditch effort to convince them, the Custodes took Alicia Dominica, leader of the brides, and her chosen bodyguards deep into the imperial palace where they stood before the Emperor himself. What happened there remains unknown. Dominica and her companions were sworn to secrecy, but it became clear that the brides, who reverted to the title of Daughters of the Emperor, had been awakened to the evil that Vandaya represented. Marching into his audience chamber, Dominica paused only to condemn Vandaya for his crimes before she beheaded the power-crazed dictator. Reportedly, Vandaya's final words were, "I don't have time to die, I'm too busy." Reformation. After this episode, the newly appointed Ecclesiarch, Sebastian Thor, proclaimed the decree passive, which forbade the Ecclesiarchy from having men under arms. Under the literal interpretation of the decree, the Adepta Sororitas, being female, were not obligated to disband. Thor, recognizing the need for the Ecclesiarchy to have some kind of force and internal regulator, allowed them to remain, even if the spirit of the decree was rather blatantly disregarded. There are several other major historical events worth noting. In 378 M36, Ecclesiarch Alexis XXII, Sebastian IV's successor, divided the orders militant of the convent sanctorum and convent priories into 4 orders: Order of the Ebon Chalice, Order of the Valorous Heart, Order of the Fiery Heart, and Order of the Argent Shroud. In M36, after the death of Alicia Dominica, Ecclesiarch Equitus XI presides over the creation the rank of Abbess of the Adepta Sororitas, the new leader of the Adepta Sororitas. The first to hold the position is Sister Palmiro of the Order of the Holy Word. In 878-M38, Ecclesiarch Desis VI founded 2 more orders militant in honor of the remaining 2 saints who accompanied Alicia Dominica to the Golden Throne: the Order of the Bloody Rose, in honor of Sister Mina, and the Order of the Sacred Rose, in honor of Sister Arabella. In M41, Sister Sabrina of the Order of the Ermine Mantle was elected abbess but disappeared during her pilgrimage to San Laura. The position of abbess was vacant until after the return of Rupert Guillermin, when it was re-established. In M42, the Adepta Sororitas embarked on an unprecedented number of wars of faith in the aftermath of the formation of the Great Rift and Indomitus Crusade. A new abbess, Morven Val, was appointed by Rupert Guillermin. Structure and hierarchy. The Adepta Sororitas is part of the Ecclesiarchy and is divided between 2 convents, the convent priories located on Terra and the convent sanctorum based on Ophelia 7, although in practice their forces are spread throughout the galaxy. The overall commander and spiritual leader of the entire sisterhood is the abbess of the Adepta Sororitas. As the leader of the Adepta Sororitas, the abbess is sometimes elected into the High Lords of Terra. Below the abbess are the prioresses of the 2 convents who are in charge of their convent and the various orders based there. The convents of the sisterhood are organized into several orders. There are 2 different kinds of orders: the orders militant, or sisters of battle, the military arm of the Ecclesiarchy composed of the 6 major orders and countless subsidiary lesser orders militant, and the non-militant orders, each of which has different roles and responsibilities in the Imperium. The largest of the non-militant orders rival the Sisters of Battle in size and notoriety, but there is also hundreds of other orders, the vast majority of which are unknown to the bulk of mankind. The most well-known are the Orders Hospitaller, composed of surgeons, physicians, and nurses, the Orders Dialogus, scholars dealing with languages, ciphers, and translations, and the Orders Famulus, acting as diplomats, chamberlains, and advisors for imperial noble families. It is not uncommon for a sister to transfer from one of the orders to another, particularly if a battle sister has become injured or is too old for combat. They may transfer to one of the non-militant orders. Each of the major orders follows the same basic hierarchical structure. An order is led by the head canoness, called the canoness superior, who runs the entire order. A preceptory is a subsidiary convent or a large tactical detachment with up to 1,000 sisters led by a canoness preceptor. A commandery is normally smaller convents or detachments of militant sisters with up to 200 sisters, led by a canoness commander. Lastly, a mission is the smallest organization of sisters, consisting of a few units and can be led by a canoness or the lesser palatine. It should be noted that the non-militant orders operate mainly at mission and commandery levels. Preceptory is a largely organizational tier. For example, a commandery of the Order Hospitalia could be a staff of sisters working in a field hospital, whilst a mission of the Orders Famulus could be a handful of sisters engaged in a trade delegation. The Orders. Commonly known as the Sisters of Battle, the Orders Militant are the most numerous and well-known of the Adepta Sororitas. They are the only official fighting force of the Ecclesiarchy and often prosecute wars of faith. They also form the chamber militant of the Ordo Hereticus and often fight alongside the inquisitors of that ordo. Since their founding, the major orders Militant have established a number of subsidiary convents at sites significant to the Ecclesiarchy. Sometimes little more than small garrisons, these bases have developed identities distinct from their parent orders over time, eventually becoming separate orders altogether. These smaller orders are referred to as the orders minoris or lesser orders militant. In theory, the leaders of the lesser orders are answerable to the leaders of the major order that spawned them. The Sisters Hospitaller are surgeons, physicians, and nurses. They aid the poor and heal the sick and the wounded in many hospitals and clinics of the Sisterhood, and serve in all departments of the Imperium's armed services except the Adeptus Sororitas. The Sisters Dialogus help to translate the innumerable dialects and slangs used throughout the Imperium. At the behest of the Inquisition and certain parties, they also study Xeno's languages, also translating texts obtained from Xeno artifacts. Sisters Dialogus are often employed as sages in Ordo Hereticus Inquisitors' retinues. The Sisters Famulus organize and maintain households of certain imperial governors and imperial nobles, serving as advisors and by their very presence reminding them of their higher loyalties. They oppose any disloyalty with the support of faithful followers from the inside of the household itself. The Sisters of the Orders Sabine accompany the Missionarius Galaxia on missions to rediscover new worlds. The Sisters specialize in infiltrating primitive societies and introduce elements of the imperial creed to the natives. The Orders Pronatus specialize in the retrieving, guarding, studying, and repairing of artifacts of value to the Ecclesiarchy. The Order of the Eternal Gate, whose responsibility is the retrieval of relics and artifacts for the Ecclesiarchy. The Order of the Blessed Inquiry are believed to have been destroyed due to their collection of artifacts of the Chaos Gods. The Order of the August Vigil specialize in the guardianship and defense of holy relics across the Imperium. The Orders Madriga provide choirs in temples. The Orders Planxilium form thousand-strong processionals leading weeping and wailing pilgrims upon the remembrance and high holy days of Veneris. The Dark Sisters of the Orders Vespula are tasked by Cardinal Gregory Hester with the sanctification of the bodies of fallen kin, and are sometimes called upon to serve as forensic specialists when a throne agent has recourse to disinter a long-dead corpse. Order Fenestris maintain the glass paneling of imperial shrines and cathedrals. Orders Princeps monitor ecclesiarchy laws. Orders Tarentine divine messages from the Emperor via the gas clouds of the torrentia pillars. Hagiolata record the deeds of sisters upon the battlefield. Heretical Adepta Sororitas. Though it is rare, Adepta Sororitas have fallen to heresy and been corrupted by gene-stealer cults, despite the Imperium's public declaration that it is not possible. Once this occurs, the Sororitas orders go to great lengths to both prevent it from becoming known, and to remove the stain on their honor. This includes hunting the heretical sisters down and having them quietly killed, while also having their existence erased from the Imperium's history. Some orders even have a pure sister undergo surgery to assume a heretic's face and identity, in order to keep the truth from being discovered. Muriel Sabathiel, Order of Our Martyred Lady Sister Superior, is believed to be the first sister to fall to heresy. A number of sisters from the Order of the Argent Shroud were captured by Muriel Sabathiel and corrupted into heresy. These sisters then served in Sabathiel's warband. Etelka Arcanto, Sister of the Order of the Thorn Eternal, is notable for willingly joining forces with a gene-stealer to destroy her order and create a gene-stealer cult, the Cult of the Spiral Dawn. Through her son, Isaiah, she became the ancestor of the cult's line of Magi. And Trishella, Order of the Somber Vow Sister Superior, who received a gene-stealer's kiss on Lubentina.
Thank you for listening to this entry from Warhammer 40,000 Lexicanum.